Bonsoir. Désolé, je ne parle pas, je parle seulement français et Gauthier va assurer la traduction.
So, good evening, good afternoon. Sorry, Claude doesn't speak English, so I'm going to do the translation.
Et donc, faire une conférence sur le champagne, ça peut paraître déplacé, tout le monde connaît le champagne.
So, to do a seminar on champagne, it could be a little bit crazy as everybody is knowing champagne.
Et ce qui est moins courant, c'est de penser que le champagne a deux visages.
Which is less common is to think that champagne has two faces, two visages.
Le visage, l'option industrielle et l'option agricole.
The industrial option and the agricultural option.
Et depuis la naissance des vins de Champagne au XVIIe siècle,
since the born of the wines of Champagne in the 17th century,
on a toujours oscillé entre cette tentation industrielle et cette tentation agricole.
There has always been a movement between this industrial temptation and this agricultural option.
Pour faire dans la caricature, on pourrait dire que l'option industrielle, c'est la mousse, et il y a la mousse et le vin.
To draw a caricature, the industrial option is the foam, and the agricultural option is the wine.
Bien sûr, la séquence qu'on connaît le mieux, c'est la dernière séquence depuis la fin de la Seconde Guerre mondiale qui est caractérisée par la mousse, l'option industrielle qui a donné ce très grand développement des vins de Champagne.
Of course, the step we know the most is the second one after the 50s, which is the industrial step with the foam and with the mass production and industrialization of champagnes.
C'était tout simplement la demande. Après les deux guerres mondiales, les gens avaient envie de fête, avaient envie de plaisir, avaient envie de liberté. Et la mousse du champagne est devenue le symbole international de ce besoin de plaisir.
Well, it was also the demand from the markets after the First World War, Second World War, when people wanted to celebrate, to commemorate, to party with the pleasure. And so the champagne with the foam was the symbol of this new philosophy of living.
Et cette séquence industrielle a duré jusque, on va dire, 1990 comme repère.
And this industrial second step has lasted until the 1990, until the 90s.
À partir de 1990, les gens redemandent du vin.
Since 1990, people are asking again for wine.
De la vérité.
Truth.
C'est pas seulement en Champagne, du reste, c'est vrai dans toutes les régions.
And it's not only valid in Champagne, it's also true in other regions, in all the regions.
J'ai eu la chance à cette période de beaucoup me promener dans le monde.
Claude has the chance at that time to travel the world.
Malgré mon anglais déplorable.
Despite his bad English.
Et de me rendre compte, de comprendre cette demande.
And to understand, to see this demand.
Et c'est à ce moment où j'ai commencé à me poser la question, mais qu'est-ce que peut être un grand vin de Champagne?
And it's at this moment that Claude was asking himself the question, what can be a fine wine, a great wine of Champagne?
Et c'est ces réponses qui ont structuré toute l'histoire de la Maison Giraud.
And these are the answers that have structured all the history of the house Henri Giraud.
Un grand vin de Champagne, c'est comme tous les grands vins. Un grand terroir, une grande histoire, une grande forêt.
A fine wine of Champagne is like all fine wines. It has to have three characteristics: a fine terroir, a great history, and a great forest.
Les deux premiers, c'est relativement, ça coule de source.
While the two first characteristics are, it's easy to understand.
Pour le terroir, le Champagne Giraud, c'est le terroir d'Ailly, Ailly Grand Cru.
The Champagne Henri Giraud, the terroir is the terroir from Ailly Grand Cru.
Plutôt que de vous parler de technique, je vais essayer de vous y emmener quelques secondes.
Instead of telling you some technical things, Claude is going to try to bring you there a few seconds.
Imaginez une petite colline de craie
So imagine a little slope of chalk
au sol très pauvre,
with a very poor soil, but not in the bad sentence. It's
seulement 20 cm de terre pour 200 mètres de craie franche.
20 centimeters of ground for 200 meters of pure chalk,
À la limite extrême nord de la culture de la vigne,
at the extreme north limit of cultivation of the vines,
exposé plein sud,
with a south exposition.
la craie emmagasine la chaleur et fait retirer les raisins.
The chalk brings and gets the heatness and make the grapes roasted, toasted.
Et la rivière, la Marne, qui baigne le pied de cette colline,
And there is the Marne River, which is at the end of this slope,
et qui entraîne toujours avec elle un courant d'air froid et humide.
which always bring a fresh and humid air.
Et ça, c'est ce qui donne l'équilibre que vous aurez toujours dans toutes les cuvées, avec ce côté un peu menthol, anis, frais.
And it gives the balance that you will find in all the cuvées from the house, with the minty, the anise into the style in the mouth.
Ça, c'est ce qui fait la particularité du terroir d'Aï.
This is what makes the particularity from the terroir Aï.
Donc vous aurez toujours ce côté chaud et contraste avec le menthol à la fraîcheur.
You will always have the contrast between the heatness and the freshness with the minty touches,
Et aussi la salinité,
and also the saltiness, the iodine,
ce qui donne des vins à la fois orientés vers la mer et à la fois orientés vers la terre.
which gives wines that are facing earth and sea at the same time.
Sur l'histoire, je pourrais me contenter de dire que ma famille s'est installée à Aï au XVIIe siècle.
So regarding the historical side, we could only say that his family, Claude's family, has been settled in the 17th century in Aï,
Et que j'en suis la 12e génération.
and Claude represents the 12th generation,
Ça ne se voit pas, bien sûr.
but you cannot see it.
Mais ce qui est plus intéressant, c'est que le XVIIe siècle, c'est le début de l'histoire, de la vraie histoire du champagne.
But what is the most important and the most interesting is that the 17th century is the beginning of the real history of Champagne.
C'est la première fois qu'on apprend à faire du grand vin en Champagne.
It's the first time that we learn and understand how to produce fine wine in Champagne.
Avant, en Champagne, on ne savait pas faire de bon vin blanc avec du raisin blanc, ni de bon vin rouge avec du raisin noir.
Before in Champagne, we didn't know how to make a good white wine out of white grapes or good red wine out of black grapes.
Et là, les Champenois inventent une nouvelle forme de vinification, un nouveau travail du vin, et font du bon vin blanc avec du raisin noir.
But at that time, people from Champagne invent a new method, new techniques of vinification, and do fine wines out of black grapes.
Je ne vais pas développer sur l'histoire de la Champagne, mais si vous avez des questions, il n'y a pas de tabou, on peut rentrer dedans.
We are not going to develop that much on the history of Champagne, but if you have any questions, do not hesitate. There is no secret, there is no taboo.
Du reste, c'est ce qui a donné le nom d'une de nos cuvées qui s'appelle Code Noir.
So this born of the method champenoise also gave the name to our cuvée Code Noir,
Qui veut dire, en gros, c'est un message qui est délivré, qui veut dire allez voir derrière la mousse, il y a l'histoire d'un grand vin.
So it's a message that is delivered. Go after the foam. Go discover after the foam. There is a fine wine of Champagne.
C'est ce qui vérifie le fameux proverbe les génies naissent dans la souffrance.
It's what making the sentence that genius born into suffer.
Ça ne veut pas dire qu'il faut souffrir pour être un génie.
But it doesn't mean that you have to suffer to be a genius.
Troisième point très important, la forêt, parce que ça, c'est vraiment la différence de la Maison Giraud en Champagne.
So the third point, the third characteristic is the forest, which is the main and the most important at the house Henri Giraud.
Nous sommes partis d'un précepte.
So we came from a precept, an idea, a philosophy.
Jusqu'en 1950, tous les champagnes, tous les vins de Champagne ont été élevés dans des chênes de la forêt d'Argonne.
Until the 50s, all the wines from Champagne has been vinified in oak barrels from the Argonne forest.
Et donc nous pensons que cette forêt a été déterminante dans l'aura internationale du Champagne.
So we think this forest has played a really important role into the history of Champagne.
Seulement, cette forêt a été complètement abandonnée par les Champenois à partir de la Seconde Guerre mondiale, c'est 1950.
But since 1950, after the Second World War, this forest has been completely left aside by the people from Champagne.
Et donc nous avons commencé à travailler sur cette forêt simplement sur la base d'un précepte.
And so we started to work on this forest, but only on the base of a precept.
Et puisque les résultats étaient extraordinaires, nous avons été un petit peu plus loin.
And since, as the results were stunning, we went further.
Nous avons mis les mêmes vins élevés dans la forêt d'Argonne en concurrence avec des vins élevés dans d'autres grandes forêts à vin blanc.
So we vinified the same wines into different, in comparison between Argonne oak and oak barrels from other fine regions for producing barrels for fine white wines.
Et nous nous sommes aperçus que la forêt d'Argonne, c'est vraiment la forêt qui convenait le mieux au Champagne et de très loin.
And we realized that the Argonne forest was the most respectful and the one that was in communion with the wines from Champagne.
Et là, j'ai rencontré la mémoire de la méranderie française, Camille Gauthier.
And at that time, Claude met the memory of the méranderie, a French méranderie, which his name is Camille Gauthier,
qui m'a permis de comprendre tous les problèmes de traçabilité de la forêt.
so that explained to Claude the problems of traceability in the forest.
Pour faire court, vous connaissez bien du reste, les chênes suivent à peu près la même filière que le cheval, vous voyez, les pays de l'Est.
So to give you an idea, the oak are following the same way, the same roads as the horse from the Eastern Europe.
Vous avez compris l'histoire de la filière du cheval dans les lasagnes
So it's the idea of the traceability with horse meat in the dishes.
Bon, ben, la moitié des chênes qu'on appelle des chênes français viennent des pays de l'Est, en fait.
Half of French oak is coming from Eastern Europe.
Ça, bien sûr, il ne faut pas le raconter, c'est entre nous. Hein.
But do not spread the word, it's just into us.
Et donc, nous nous sommes rapprochés de l'Office national des forêts françaises, l'ONF,
So we got in collaboration with the National Forest Office
pour avoir une vraie traçabilité des chênes avec lesquels on travaille.
to have a real traceability of the oak barrels and the oak trees we are working with.
Et eux nous ont permis de choisir ces chênes sur pied.
So they allowed us to choose the oak barrels and to go into the forest and pick the trees on their feet.
Donc, en fait, des chênes de 180 à 250 années.
So oak trees that are 180, 250 years old.
Et là, on a découvert quelque chose qui est tout nouveau, qui va, je pense, dans les prochaines années, révolutionner la vinification en chêne.
So we have discovered something that is going to be a revolution of the vinification of fine wines in oak,
La notion de terroir en forêt.
the notion of terroir in the forest.
C'est-à-dire que les arbres sont exactement comme la vigne, ils sont le reflet du terroir qui les a portés toute leur vie.
So the oak trees are exactly the same as the vines. They are different regarding the terroir they have been growing on.
On le comprend facilement avec le sol, bien sûr. Un chêne qui a poussé sur de l'argile ou qui a poussé sur du calcaire ou qui a poussé sur de la gaise, puisque c'est le sol d'Argonne, c'est vraiment très différent.
We can understand it easily regarding an oak tree that has been growing on some clay or chalky or gaze, which is the terroir of the Argonne forest.
Mais ce qui est intéressant, c'est que des chênes qui ont poussé sur un même sol, dans des terroirs différents, des microclimats différents, donnent des résultats totalement différents.
But what is so interesting is that oak trees that have been growing on the same type of subsoil, but from different sections are like microclimates are really different and gives different flavors to the wines.
Et ça, c'est très intéressant. Il y a vraiment beaucoup de travail sur la traçabilité des chênes et les croisements entre les terroirs des forêts et les terroirs viticoles.
So it's really interesting, and we have lots of cards in our hands to play with regarding the notion of terroir, the notion of sections into the forest, and the combination between the finest terroirs of Hailly Grand Cru and the terroirs of the Argonne forest.
Donc vous comprenez que quand on met la main dans une histoire comme ça, on est vite passionné et il y a un tel terrain de jeu qui s'ouvre que c'est quelque chose de très fort, d'extraordinaire. Et donc nous avons appelé notre plus belle cuvée la cuvée Argonne, qui est du nom de notre forêt, la forêt historique de la Champagne.
So you can also understand that when you fall into an history like this one, into a game like this one, it's improving a lot of benefits, and this is why we decided to name our Grand Cuvée Argonne for the name of the Argonne forest.
Mais au travers de ce travail en fût, en petit fût, nous travaillons bien sûr qu'avec des fûts neufs.
But through the work that we are doing with small oak barrels, we are working with new oak barrels.
Qui n'est vraiment pas l'habitude de ces dernières années en Champagne.
Which is really not the trend of these previous and past years in Champagne.
Nous avons en fait non pas réinventé le travail du champagne, mais nous avons été obligés de remettre tout notre travail, toute notre conception du travail du champagne sur la table.
So we have not reinvented the work of Champagne, but we have had to reinvent all our conception and philosophy of wines of Champagne and to rework with that.
Par exemple, le travail sur l'Ientière.
For example, the work, the vinification over full lees.
Dans des fûts, ça coule de source. Tout le monde, quand on travaille en fût, on travaille sur l'Ientière.
In oak barrels, it's of course when you work with oak, you do the vinification over full lees.
Mais on a exactement les mêmes avantages en cuve.
But you also have the same advantages in stainless steel tanks.
Donc en fait, ça fait depuis les années 90 où on ne fait plus aucun sous-tirage, par exemple.
So since 1990, we are no longer doing any racking.
De la même façon, la conception du froid, par exemple, pour faire des grands vins, vous savez bien que plus on touche au vin, plus on perd de qualité. Donc moins on y touche et plus on a des grands vins. Donc le travail sur l'harmonie et l'équilibre du vin, c'est très intéressant, très important.
And also the work regarding the harmony and balance of the wines, because you know that if you work much more on a wine, if you touch it too much, you will lose the essence of it.
Et tout ce travail, nous le faisons loin, très loin des sentiers battus de la mode.
And so this work, we do it really opposite as the trends, as the fashion.
Nous ne sommes pas bio, nous ne sommes pas extrémistes, nous sommes simplement raisonnés, vrais. On fait tout ce qu'on peut de mieux pour notre vin et nos vignes et les raisins qu'on achète, parce que nous sommes aussi négociants.
So we are not organic, we are not extremist, we are just in a sustainable way of thinking. For our vines, for our grapes that we grow, and also for the grapes that we buy, as we are a champagne house and a negociant.
Voilà, bon, je vais m'arrêter là parce que c'est mieux s'il y a quelques questions et qu'on puisse discuter.
So we will stop the presentation here, and the best is to have an interaction for you to have some questions that we can answer.
Peut-être quelques questions sur l'histoire de la maison ou l'histoire de la Champagne, comme vous voulez, avant de passer à la dégustation.
Do you already have some questions on the history of the house before starting with the tasting of the wines?
Alors, qui se jette à l'eau?
Who's first?
Tirez les premiers, c'est comme ça qu'on dit.
I can't translate. No questions? Okay. So,
Je suis sûr qu'il y a plein de questions qui vous brûlent la langue et que vous n'osez pas poser.
Claude is sure that you have lots of questions on your tongue and becoming more hotter and that you don't want to ask. Yes. Les spécificités entre les différentes parcelles, ce que ça va donner comme saveur, comme texture entre les différentes parcelles d'Argonne en fait.
En fait, la question, c'est la différence de texture et de saveur par rapport aux parcelles de forêt.
So the question is the difference of flavors and texture, structure regarding the sections into the forest.
Bien sûr, quand on parle d'élevage en fût, on ne parle surtout pas de saveur et d'arôme.
Of course, when you do the vinification in oak, you do not talk about flavors and structure.
C'est pas du tout ce qu'on cherche.
It's not what we are looking for.
La différence entre un fût et une cuve, c'est que la cuve, c'est totalement inerte, alors que le fût, c'est vivant.
The main difference between tanks and oak is that in tanks, it's not lively, it's inert, instead of opposite into the oaks.
Et donc, dès la vendange, il faut trouver l'équilibre entre le vin et le fût.
So since, at the beginning at the harvest, you have to find the harmony, the collaboration, the harmony between the wine and the oak.
Et on va avoir des effets très importants sur la texture, sur la matière.
And we will have lots of effects and very important effects on the structure, on the material,
Sur la tension du vin,
on the tension of the wine,
sur la durabilité du vin. Il y a des mariages qui vont révéler très vite le vin et il y a des mariages où il va falloir attendre un peu plus de temps. En fait, c'est extrêmement complexe, c'est l'interaction.
the potential of the wine. Some blendings will give results fast, really quickly, but some other will only develop years after years, and in a long time. Hoping that it's the answer to your question. La différence entre les forêts d'Argonne et les forêts d'autres régions françaises.
Alors c'est vraiment justement c'est l'impact sur le vin. La forêt d'Argonne, c'est dans un sol qui est extrêmement pauvre, qui s'appelle la gaise, G-A-I-Z-E.
So the subsoil, the terroir of the Argonne forest is the gaze, G-A-I-Z-E, which is a very poor soil, terroir.
C'est un grès silicieux.
So it's a siliceous gray clay.
Et c'est vraiment le type de bois qui respecte le plus le vin.
And it's the type of oak that respects the most the wine.
Et le champagne, qui est un grand vin blanc de la limite extrême nord, est très sensible, très fragile. Donc c'est vraiment, il faut du bois qui respecte bien le champagne.
So Champagne is a very fragile white wine from the extreme north limit of cultivation of the vines, and so you have to have oak that respects this fragility, this sensibility from the wine of Champagne.
Par exemple, le grain de la forêt d'Argonne est plus fin que le grain de Tronchet.
For example, the grain from the Argonne forest is finer than the grain from Tronchet. Yes? There's a micro coming, so.
The last time I met you in I remember you gave a figure for Tronchet oak, which is very famous, but in fact represents a very small percentage of French oak. Is that correct?
La dernière fois qu'il est venu à la maison, on avait donné des chiffres sur la forêt de Tronchet qui est vraiment beaucoup plus, pas aussi développée qu'on veut le croire.
Ah oui. Ça, c'est par rapport à la traçabilité. Effectivement, la forêt de Tronchet représente seulement 2% des approvisionnements en bois amérin pour faire des tonneaux, alors que partout dans le monde, dans toutes les caves, tout le monde vous dira toujours qu'il a de la forêt de Tronchet. Ça, c'est le problème de traçabilité.
So regarding the traceability, yes, the figures was that less than 2% of the oak barrels are actually coming from the Tronchet forest. And so when you visit producers, they will all say that their oak barrels are coming from the Tronchet forest.
Mais sur la traçabilité, il y a quelque chose qui a dû tous vous interpeller. Quand vous allez chez un viticulteur, un producteur, on va dire, quel qu'il soit, un producteur, vous avez remarqué qu'il y a toujours 4 ou 5 ou 6 tonneliers.
So you have also something that rings a bell to you. When you visit producers, you have seen that they multiply the coopers in their cellars. There is 3, 4, 5, 6 coopers, different coopers.
Et ça, c'est simplement parce qu'il n'y a aucune traçabilité des chênes amérins en France. Et donc, le réflexe du producteur, c'est de multiplier les origines pour avoir quelque chose de moyen.
So the problem is that in France, there is no traceability of French Mérin oak. And so the producers are multiplying the suppliers, the coopers, because they have no idea of the origin of the oak. And so they want to multiply to have an average product.
D'ailleurs, les trois quarts du temps, quand vous demandez à un producteur de où viennent ces tonneaux, il vous cite le nom du tonnelier, pas le nom de la forêt
And so,
d'origine.
3 times out of 4, when you ask a producer where the oak is coming, he will give you the name of the cooper, not the name of the forest where the oak is coming. Okay, other questions? Yes? Sorry.
There have obviously been many changes since the 17th century, since you started. What do you see for the future of the Champagne House?
Depuis le XVIIe siècle, il y a eu beaucoup de changements. Quelles seront les prochaines tendances quelles sont les tendances pour les années futures?
Effectivement, au XVIIe siècle, ce n'était pas encore le champagne, c'était le vin de champagne. Le champagne, c'est un siècle plus tard, on va dire.
The 17th century, so it was wine of Champagne. Champagne came a century after.
Les changements à venir pour le champagne, c'est la suppression définitive de l'option industrielle.
So the trends for the future for Champagne is the end of the industrial choice.
Il faut bien comprendre qu'il y a 50 ans, le champagne représentait 90% des sparkling dans le monde.
50 years ago, Champagne was representing 90% of the sparkling wines in the world.
Aujourd'hui, le champagne représente bien moins que 10%.
Now, Champagne represents less than 10%.
Le champagne est au bout de son appellation. Il n'y a pas beaucoup de progression possible en quantité de terre en appellation.
Champagne is at the limit of its territory, of the appellation. There is no terroir or parcels, places left.
Donc on peut dire qu'aujourd'hui, le champagne est condamné à être un grand vin.
So now Champagne is condemned to be a fine wine.
Et vous avez vu que la stratégie de la Champagne actuellement, qui s'appelle Champagne 2030,
and you have seen that the strategy from Champagne at this moment, which is named Champagne 2030,
c'est le retour à l'excellence,
is the comeback to the excellence.
qui est à demi-mot un aveu, parce que si on retourne à l'excellence, c'est qu'on l'avait quitté.
Which is to say that they left aside the excellence and that they want to come back to it.
Just wanted to better understand one point about the grain of Argonne oak. Is it tighter than other forests? The actual grain, is it very tight or is it looser? And if it is, has less effect on the wine, is it less oxidative than other oaks?
Please repeat, because with the micro just in front, please.
The grain
Yeah.
of the oak, is it very tight or is it
Est-ce que le
loose?
grain est très très serré parce que pour la micro-oxygénation aussi
Le grain de la forêt d'Argonne est quelquefois plus serré que Tronchet. Hein. Et ça tient au sol qui est très pauvre, les chênes poussent très doucement.
So the grain is tighter than Tronchet sometimes, and it's due to the terroir and due to the oak are growing slowly on this poor terroir.
Mais le grain du chêne n'est pas l'élément déterminant.
But the grain is not the most important part of the oak.
Le grain va seulement déterminer la rapidité à laquelle le chêne va libérer ses composants.
The grain will only be responsible for the time the oak will give its characteristics to the wine.
Ce qui est important, c'est quels sont ses composants.
What is important is what are the characteristics of the oak. Je vais peut-être faire la présentation.
Si vous voulez, on va présenter Gauthier va vous présenter les cuvées, on va aller plus vite que s'il traduit. Et on peut continuer à discuter en même temps que la présentation.
So I'm going to start to present you the cuvées, not in doing the translation to get some more time also for interaction. So do not hesitate to interrupt and to have an interaction between each other. So we will start with the cuvée Hommage, which is your first glass, which is absolutely the flagship of the Champagne House Henri Giraud, our reference cuvée. So it's a tribute to François Aymar, the ancestor of the family that was born in 1625 in Haï. With this cuvée Hommage, it's the start of our work with Haï Grand Cru Terroir, and also the start of our work regarding the vinification in oak. Hommage is, as I said, a pure Haï Grand Cru, and the Champagne House Henri Giraud is the only champagne house on the market which is able to produce a full range of champagnes Haï Grand Cru. That's also the unique thing from the house Henri Giraud. Hommage is a 70% Pinot Noir, 30% Chardonnay, which has been vinified during 6 months in stainless steel tanks, over full lees, with no racking, and then 6 months of aging in oak barrels. So the 6 months of vinification in tanks are here to give the primary flavors, the aromas of the wine. And then the 6 months of aging in oak is to give what we call the patine to the wine, to give some additional character. And this cuvée is then aged for 3 years on yeast. So we will taste it. You will see that Hommage really have the representation from the terroir Haï Grand Cru Claude was talking about before. This Haï Grand Cru terroir with the south exposition slope, so lots of heatness, generosity and roundness at the beginning of your mouth. And then at the end, some freshness and minerality, which gives a nice balance. And it's given by this Marne River, which is really going like a snake into Haï and allowing us to reach the best level of maturity of the grapes. We are always seen as crazy as we wait 1 or 2 weeks compared to our neighbors to harvest. But the result is to have and to talk about fine wines of Champagne. And so lots of roundness, heatness at the beginning, freshness, minerality at the end. And in the middle of your mouth, the saltiness, the iodine that we were talking about, which is the minerality, given by also the terroir of Haï Grand Cru, which is the chalk. As we said, 20 centimeters of Arget ground for 200 meters of pure chalk. And so you have the sensation that the chalk fills all your mouth, like a vibration of the chalk in your mouth. That's the representation from Haï Grand Cru, and that's the marker, also the saltiness is the marker of every fine white wine that you will feel in the full range from the house. When we talk about the fine wines and the saltiness, like in Chablis with Ravenot and Dovisa, or some old Meursault, also some wines from the south of France, the saltiness is the marker of every fine white wine. And you will find it obviously in the full range from the house Henri Giraud. So you can definitely quote this sweetness, this maturity, but with lots of now we can feel the minty and the menthol touch. It depends on the vintages, but it's something that you can quote easily and that you can find in the range. Do you have any comments? Do you like it? What are the So it's a non-vintage champagne. We never talk about the base wines. What we can say is that it's 1 year of vinification plus 3 years on the yeast, so you can also deduce more easily. And now we also engrave the disgorgement dates on all of our bottles. There is a lot number to avoid any parallel issues of parallel market issues, and the disgorgement date. So it's helping also. And sommeliers and the customers to know. So we can talk also about the temperature. These wines now are at 12 degrees, but it's great for the wines from the house. They do not need and they do not have to be served too chilly to develop. And the best is to start for aperitif with a glass at 10 and leave it warming until 12, 14, do a full dinner menu with it. And you will see that the palette is so large, and you can, moments and minutes after minutes, you can quote different types of flavors and aromas. And that's the complexity from the wine. We are here really talking about fine wine of Champagne and not the other option. So Hommage is really the flagship of the house, the cuvée that we drink the most at the house, which is the one that we serve the most. And you have to imagine that on the market, there is no cuvée that is able to compete with the cuvée Hommage Hailly Grand Cru in its segment, in its price range. And yes? So the dosage is exactly the same in the full range. It's 8 grams of sugar per liter. You will have a sensation of heatness, of roundness, but nothing to see with the dosage. Just to also really insist on the Hailly Grand Cru, there is only 3 producers and 3 houses that are producing Hailly Grand Cru. Jackson and Celos, they do some micro cuvées with really high-end prices, small volumes, and the house Henri Giraud, which is able to offer on the market a full range of champagnes Hailly Grand Cru, and this is absolutely unique. The house Henri Giraud is inseparable from Hailly Grand Cru, and the terroir from Hailly Grand Cru is inseparable from the house Henri Giraud. Some other big houses, they are located in Hailly but do not produce Hailly Grand Cru. That's the core point of the house Henri Giraud. Should we move on the other wine? So the second one, Claude also talked a little bit about, that's the Col de Noir. So it's an 100% Pinot Noir, vinified during 1 year in oak, with an aging of 4 years on the yeast. Col de Noir is a tribute to the code of Champagne, to the real history of Champagne, the genius of the wine growers that have realized that in Champagne we should press the black grapes to get a white wine. And Champagne is not a sparkling wine, as Claude said. There's lots of sparkling wines on the market. Champagne is a white wine out of black grapes. And that's what we have decided to make a tribute to with the cuvée Col de Noir. It's the code you have to respect, to follow, to produce a fine wine of Champagne. And you know, at the house, it's all about this precision, all about this, the luxury artisanal, the workshops. For those of you that came to the house, we have a very unique know-how. And we also, of course, invite you to discover this regarding, well, the vinification in oak, as Claude said, it's the result of 25 years of researches, and it's really a revelation and will be a revolution for fine wines vinification in the world. And with the name also Code Noir, we want to give our customers some new codes to be initiated to something different, something new, unique. And when we launched the cuvée Code Noir in 2007, some French searchers at the INRA of Colmar in Alsace decoded the DNA of a vine of Pinot Noir. So on our sleeve and behind the sleeve, you can see the 19 chromosomes of a vine of Pinot Noir, composing the genetic code. So it's another explanation from the name Code Noir. It's really important because it's the first time French searchers found before American searchers. So we also want to make a tribute to that. So still lots of richness and intensity. You can find some tropical fruits like pineapple, sometimes a touch of coconut also, and still lots of freshness, minerality, and sometimes we think the minerality comes from the Chardonnay, but here it's 100% Pinot Noir, so you can feel and you can see that the minerality has nothing to see with the grape varietal. It's really the terroir from Hailly Grand Cru. It's the best terroir in Champagne for sure. Everybody wants to have vines in Hailly, and it's the result that we can now taste. Yeah, the chalk is really filling your mouth. On your teeth, you can feel the chalk, and well, it's Hailly Grand Cru. This is why we insist on that.
Le calcaire est un élément très important dans l'association mets-vin, parce qu'en fait, le calcaire équilibre quasiment tous les goûts, et notamment les épices. C'est vraiment quelque chose de... ce pinot noir, moi j'ai fait le Code Noir, j'ai fait en Asie avec du wasabi frais et de l'oursin, quoi. C'est énorme, parce que mais faire du champagne avec du wasabi, on se dit, c'est impossible. D'ailleurs, quand ils m'ont annoncé ça à la dégustation, j'étais anxieux. Il n'y a qu'un vin comme ça pour équilibrer du wasabi.
So Claude is talking about the chalky touch. That is a very interesting element to look for food and wine pairings, because he has the ability to balance everything. And Claude once came. Well, he was in Japan a few time ago. And the association was Code Noir with wasabi. And before the food and wine pairing, he was really, really nervous and anxious about the results. And actually, it's only a wine like this that can balance and be paired with some very strong spices also. And at that time, it was with the wasabi. And it's great to be paired with some oysters, with some seafood, with lobster, scallops also. So there's lots of interesting pairings to be made with Code Noir.
C'est un pinot noir, mais en fait on est plutôt orienté vers la mer que vers la terre.
So it's a Pinot Noir, but this wine is more facing the sea instead of the earth style. Can you feel the chalk in your mouth and what we are talking about? Yeah? Any question on this wine? So now the third one is a Côte Noire Rosé. So it's the same base wine as the Côte Noire Brut we have been tasting just right before. But we had 10 to 12% of red Pinot Noir from our old vines from Ailly Grand Cru. And so we want to make a strong Coteaux Champenois red for our rosés. It's because we do that, as you have understood, by blending with red wine. And so we decided to launch these rosés on the market when some other houses or producers were launching some terrace and marketing rosé. This has nothing to see with terrace and marketing rosé or fashion. This is really a wine of Champagne that is looking for gastronomy. And in gastronomy, you can pair it with deer, venison, game, what we call gibier. It's really lots of structure in it.
En fait, en assemblant le rouge, on ajoute la dimension terre avec un peu de jus de viande.
By blending the Côte Noire plus the red Coteaux Champenois, we implement the earth kind of flavors and aromas, such as meat juice, raw ham, and you can find it here. And you can feel also some very mature strawberries that's at the end of the summer that are at the bottom of the recipient, left under the sun. That's the type of flavors, aromas that you have here. And the spiciness, of course, also. Some white pepper is also from Ailly. Can we move on the fourth one? Yes? So now the fourth one is Fût de Chêne Multi-Vintage, which is the new Grand Cuvée of the Champagne House Henri Giraud. It was created in 2005, composed of fresh grape juices from the harvest that are blended with reserve vines that we age in Solera, meaning that we always refresh our reserve vines with some fresh grape juices from the harvest that we do not use for the blendings. So it's 70% Pinot Noir, 30% Chardonnay, with 1 year of vinification in oak, with the traceability, of course, and the notion of terroir we were talking about before, with an aging then of 6 years on the yeast before disgorgement. This cuvée Fût de Chêne multi-vintage, I'm sure some of you know the cuvée, knew the cuvée Fût de Chêne vintage. But we decided to make the cuvée Fût de Chêne vintage a little bit more accessible, with more freshness and gourmandise towards it, as our customers were asking and were looking for that. So we created this cuvée also to be served by the glass in all the major Michelin star and gastronomic restaurants. And it's now creating a step in the range to be able to understand the work and the know-how of the house, because before we were missing this cuvée, that because we had Hommage, Côte Noire and Fût de Chêne vintage. But Côte Noire is a concept wine, as we said, it's a bit apart the range. Now we have Hommage, Fût de Chêne multi-vintage, and the new Grand Cuvée, as we said in the presentation, is named Argonne with the vintage 2002. So we have also, with this Cuvée Fût de Chêne multi-vintage, created this step to be able to understand and climb the range. And since we launched it also in last year, October 2012, that's a huge success, and that's the cuvée that represents the future of the House Henri Giraud. That's the cuvée that need to be highlighted also. And we have been talking about earth, sea, and we can say that in this Fût de Chêne multi-vintage, it's both facing earth and sea. The sea with the minority, the saltiness, the iodine, some lobster share, and the earth with white truffles, mushrooms, meat juice, raw ham, and that's really great for food and wine pairings because you have a palette in your hands to play with, which is very large.
Vraiment le champagne qu'on peut associer à n'importe quel moment et à n'importe quelle heure.
It's really the cuvée that you can pair with or drink or serve at every moment, every occasion with everything, we could say.
Donc, il suffit de jouer sur les températures.
You can play on temperatures. And I think it's one of the cuvées that where the saltiness on the middle of your tongue is the most quotable, that you can find most easily. Yes? That will be easier.
Sorry. So, hello. Yeah. So it's just to come back on the blend of this champagne. You said that was based on 2005 vintage, and then you add some of the wine that was put in a Solera.
Yes?
What are the percentage of the vintage 2005?
C'est vrai, pour le multi-vintage, quel est le pourcentage de 2005?
Are you aiming for...
Quel est le pourcentage de 2005 par rapport au vin de réserve d'élevé en Solera?
Normalement, on ne communique jamais sur l'année de fabrication du vin, d'élaboration du vin. Parce que quelque part, c'est un peu une escroquerie mentale de dire que c'est la vendange 2005 alors qu'il y a 40% de vin de réserve.
So we usually never talk about the base wine, as I said before, because it will be we will be like cheating because you can't say that it's the base wine of 2005 with more than 40% of reserve vines. It doesn't make sense anymore.
C'est uniquement parce que nous sommes entre professionnels et ça permet de comprendre le vin.
It's only because we are among professionals, and so we can understand the wine.
Are you looking for to produce every year, having consistency in your wine, or because before the Fût de Chêne was a vintage champagne, so every vintage was different? With the multi-vintage cuvée, are you looking to create only one champagne that will test more or less the same every year?
Est-ce qu'avec le Fût de Chêne multi-vintage, on veut un petit peu lisser, avoir une cuvée qu'on fasse tous les ans
Bien sûr, c'est le but de faire du multi-vintage, c'est de faire un champagne que l'on puisse reproduire, presque reproduire un type de champagne qu'on puisse suivre. C'est ça qui est important.
Of course, the aim of the multi-vintage is to try to achieve the reproduction of a style of champagne consistently.
Maintenant, il faut bien comprendre qu'en Champagne, quasiment tous les champagnes sont des multi-vintage, hormis bien sûr les millésimes.
Now you have to imagine also that in Champagne, mostly all the champagnes, except for the millésimés, the vintages, are multi-vintage.
Parce qu'en fait, depuis 20 ans maintenant, il y a un système de fonctionnement économique très intelligent en Champagne.
Because since now 20 years in Champagne, there is an economic movement which is taking place.
Qui permet d'avoir quasiment une année, trois quarts d'une année de vendange de vin de réserve.
Which allows to have 3/4 of harvest in reserve vines.
C'est une mesure économique, mais en fait, c'est une mesure qualitative très importante pour la Champagne.
It's an economic measure, but it's really a very qualitative measure for Champagne.
Et ça permet d'avoir quasiment tous les ans des vins d'assemblage avec des vendanges anciennes.
And it allows to have every year blending wines with previous reserve wines.
Mais par contre, le vin de Champagne est très fragile et si on le garde en année entière, on va perdre en qualité.
But wine of Champagne is very fragile, so if you keep it from a year, you will lose in quality.
Et donc la façon de dépasser ce problème, c'est que tous les ans, on rafraîchit les vins de réserve avec l'excédent des vins de l'année.
And the qualitative measure is to blend every year the reserve vines with the fresh grape juices from the harvest that have not been used for the blendings.
C'est pour ça qu'on parle de Solera, ce n'est pas le terme approprié, mais c'est pour bien comprendre que tous les ans on rafraîchit. Parce que normalement la Solera c'est un élevage à l'air, ça n'a rien à voir avec la Champagne, mais il n'y a pas d'explication dans ce travail.
This is why we use the term Solera. It's not a Solera, in fact, nothing to see with the hair, but it's the way to refresh our reserve vines every year. And there is no term to describe it more easily than using the term of the Solera.
Vous remarquerez que ça, c'est très rare de trouver ça dans une dégustation. Nous, on n'a pas peur de goûter les plus grands et de terminer par les entrées de gamme. Une gamme de vins bien faite doit pouvoir se goûter dans tous les sens. Et donc, quand on parle de menu déjeuner, effectivement, on revendique la qualité de nos entrées de gamme. Et on peut très bien la déguster après les grands. Ça passe très bien, pas de problème.
You will note that it's really unusual to taste the entry-level wines after the Grand Cuvées. And you can do that when the range has been well made, well thought, because usually it's impossible to come back to the entry level. And so, of course, we are really proud about our lunch menu, same as the restaurant is proud about it, regarding the quality offered to the customer. And now the champagne have been reaching 14, 15 degrees. So it's also unusual to taste them at that temperature, but they are still really developing well. Okay, so now to finish, we will move on the last wine, which is the Esprit Blanc de Blanc. So 100% Chardonnay, 90% Chardonnay from the Reims mountain, grapes that we source, and 10% of Chardonnay from Hailly Grand Cru. And so it's also a very unusual Blanc de Blanc, as you have understood that we want everything to be unusual, to be unique, and to go out of the mainstream of Champagne. And so we were looking to produce a Blanc de Blanc that looks like us, with the style of the wines we want, and not the Blanc de Blanc from the Côte des Blancs. A Blanc de Blanc and a Chardonnay from the Reims mountain with this style. So the vinification is made as the Esprit Rosé, 6 months in stainless steel tanks, then aging of 18 to 24 months. But the 10% of Hailly Grand Cru wines have been vinified in oak. So it's much more crispy as compared to the others. That's great to finish with the Esprit Blanc de Blanc. No, still the same in the mouth. The structure, the minerality, and the saltiness on your tongue, and the chalk on your mouth. And so, spring flowers on the bouquet on the palate.
Vous avez remarqué que sur toutes ces cuvées, il y a toujours la petite trace de fumée qui vient du bois. C'est la seule marque du tonneau qu'on s'autorise.
So you have seen that in the range through this tasting, you can find quote the smoky touch, which is the only thing from the oak barrel that you can quote. Do you have any questions regarding, well, different presentations, the wines?
Ben après une journée de dégustation, vous êtes drôlement sage. Hein?
So after a full day of tasting, you are really quiet. En espérant que ça a été un plaisir pour nous, une bonne introduction au style de la maison. Pour ceux qui viennent en Champagne, on sera heureux de vous recevoir en Champagne.
S'il n'y a plus de questions, je vous propose de nous séparer. C'était un moment de plaisir de toute façon, un moment de partage et de plaisir.
So if there is no any other question, we will finish the seminar. It has been a great moment of pleasure, sharing the moment of the wine.
J'espère que nous avons contribué à votre compréhension, meilleure compréhension du champagne.
We hope that we have contributed to a better knowledge, to your better knowledge of champagne.
Rappelez-vous que le champagne, c'est comme les fruits, c'est toujours meilleur sur l'arbre.
Remember that champagne is like fruits. It's always tasting better when you grab it from the tree.
Et donc ne manquez pas de venir nous visiter parce que c'est là où on peut transmettre le plus de choses.
So do not hesitate to come to see us, to come and visit us in Haï, because it's at that time that we can share with you the most important treasures.
Et s'il y avait un message de fin à faire passer, souvenez-vous toujours que dans le champagne, derrière les bulles, il y a du vin. Et c'est ça qui est intéressant.
And if we had another message to give you, always remember that in champagne, behind the bubbles, there is wine.
Et pour faire suite à la question de tout à l'heure, c'est là que se jouera l'avenir du champagne dans les années qui viennent.
And so to answer also the question that was previously asked, it's here that the future of champagne is.
Merci beaucoup.
Thank you.